Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back. Episode 32 of No One Asked Us. I'm Craig Choate. That is Logan Lee. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. Follow us on all our social media channels. I am at Craig W. Choate on Twitter. He is at the Logan Lee. I am the same on Instagram. He's the Logan Lee 91 on Instagram. We got our show Twitter at No One Asked Us Pod. Have a YouTube channel. Apple, Spotify, all the places you get your good podcast. Thank you for listening, and like, subscribe, and share our episode. Logan,
Hold on.
I won't forget. There are chapters in the descriptions. We do tend to go a little bit longer than normal podcasts. We wanted to keep episodes under an hour, but that has not happened except for maybe twice.
Yeah.
So
I was looking back at it the other day. Yeah, I think it's like twice.
Yeah, we like to ramble. So for those that don't want to listen to all the ramblings about football or anything that you don't really care about, there are chapters in the descriptions. You can fast forward to that timestamp. It'll take you right to whatever you want to listen to. We just appreciate you listening however you're listening and for however long you are listening. We'll get to moment of the week here in a little bit, but let's just recap the weekend first. We used to do this all the time, but I've kind of moved away from it. Jumped right into moment of the week, but it's almost 6 o'clock Eastern time. How was your weekend, Logan, on a Monday here? 6 o'clock Eastern on a Monday. How was your weekend?
It was good. Didn't go anywhere this weekend. Just hung around here. Stayed up way too late watching football on Friday night. With we'll talk about that. Unfortunately, that didn't go as I thought maybe it might. Not much. Just kind of some football and some hanging around in the house and doing some stuff around here. So how about you? Anything productive on your end?
So I was in Champaign Friday night.
Yes, that's right.
I had to work back on campus in Champaign. So I was in town already for work. And so I stayed for the game. It was a late night for me in Central Time. So on Eastern Time, it was even a lot later, which those late kickoffs, man, I am not looking forward to those.
At least it was on a Friday.
It was a Friday. That's right. So obviously stayed in Champaign Friday night, woke up really early Saturday because in my mind I was like, all right, if I wake up early enough Saturday, I can drive the 3.5 hours back to Louisville and be back home in time for the noon kicks and watch a full day of football once I get back. So I woke up at 7 Champaign time and I was like, okay, perfect timing. I'll be back home like right at noon if I leave right now. So I left, got home at 11:50, and I was asleep at 12:20. And I slept through the whole first half of that first window of games. So I missed like everything.
You know what would have helped? Had you gotten your Chick-fil-A on Saturday morning before you left Champaign.
So that's been one of my complaints. Any weekend trip that I take, if I would go see friends in St. Louis or go to Chicago to Chrissy's parents, it was a Friday night, Saturday night trip and then leave Sunday to get back to Champaign, and Chick-fil-A was always closed. So on every road trip, Chick-fil-A was closed on Sunday. So I was like, oh, it's Saturday. I'm going back on Saturday. I can get breakfast in Champaign at Chick-fil-A for my drive. Chick-fil-A in Champaign has recently closed their breakfast. They open at 10:30 in the morning because no one wants to work, which is happening across the country. But I did not know that. So I was very upset. Very upset. Oh man, I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. So yeah,
Did
I
you
slept
replace it with any? Did you replace that with anything for your breakfast? Or
I had picked up some of the Hostess chocolate donuts on Friday on my way in for breakfast. That I only ate one pack of the 2 that I got. So I did stop at McDonald's just for a tea. I didn't want McDonald's breakfast, but I got a sweet tea from McDonald's for the drive, and I finished off those donuts for the drive. And
then you went home and fell asleep.
went home and fell asleep. I missed I woke up, it was like halfway through the third quarter of the Indiana Cincinnati game. I was like, all right, at least I get to see the end. But I was like, I should have just got a normal round of sleep in Champaign and then listened to the game on the radio as I was driving back. But and then Saturday night, Louisville basketball had their I guess it's taken the place of Midnight Madness. You know how everyone used to do a Midnight Madness?
Used to love Midnight Madness.
Yeah. So they had that event, like it was called Louisville Live Horses and Hoops or something like that, Downs After Dark. So they put a half court basketball court in the middle of Churchill Downs gate, just like the main entrance, just right in the middle there. And they introduced their women's team and they did a skills competition and 3-point contest. Then they honored the 1986 national championship team. I think the one that still has the banner, didn't have to take that banner down. I think, as far as I know, I don't know. And then the men's team did some introductions, 3-point contest and dunk contest, all while horse races are going on in the track. So intention was to watch a lot of the basketball stuff. But we lucked into a pretty good deal for the horse racing. We had a box with food and drinks and all that stuff away from the basketball area. So I caught maybe 5-10 minutes of the 3-point contest for the men's, watched the rest on a screen in our it wasn't really a suite. It was a big area. It was like a reception hall area where we were, but I watched the rest of it on a screen and watched some races, and it was a really cool setup, but it was just general admission down in the down near the paddock, and there was a ton of people there. So it was a cool event, but didn't get a whole lot of basketball in it. We just watched a lot of races and ate and visited, and overall pretty good night. Churchill Downs is fun. I'm going to be there a lot, I think.
Yeah, it seems like it. I haven't been there. We drove past it when I was younger when we were visiting down there, but definitely never experienced it. But it's certainly on the list of things to get to. So maybe I'll have to crash your party sometime, and we'll enjoy some of that because I'd like to experience that a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know about the Derby. The Derby might be a little crazy there, but I would foresee I would at least be down there for it. But yeah, we're taking reservations at the house.
Oh, great.
There's might put your name on the waiting list now, because might be a long waiting list.
I'm sure.
All right, let's get into it. We got football to recap and preview, give our picks and our rankings. And then a lot of TV talk this week I want to get to at the end. I don't know how much Logan looked at the rundown that I've thrown in, but a lot of TV
I saw it. I don't really know where you're going with that. So I'm intrigued to see what you all have, or what you have in mind, what's been going on in your life, because I have no idea.
All I wrote down was TV week. That's all I wrote.
I guess Craig's been watching a lot of TV. and he wants to talk about it.
There is also a men's basketball note in here that we will get to after we finish our football talk. But as we do with the show now, we're going to start with moment of the week. Logan, what stood out to you last week in the sports world, entertainment world, political world, anything? What stood out to you?
I hadn't really thought about it at all up until right before we started recording. The first thing that comes to my mind, and it's not something that I've talked about a lot the last few weeks, and I know it's not on the rundown. You may or may not want to talk about some of this stuff a little later. I don't know. But the world of baseball, the one bright spot of the Cubs, I guess there's a couple of them, the emergence of some 30-year-old players, but Patrick Wisdom, former Cardinal farmhand, former Mariner farmhand, finally making his season-long debut this year for the Cubs, set the Cubs rookie home run record the other day at 27, passing Chris Bryant, who previously held the record. I mean, it's incredible. There's not much good that's come out of the Cubs baseball season. I haven't really watched hardly any Cubs baseball since the trade deadline. I've talked about that already once before on this show. but at least there's a bright spot coming out of the season. I have no idea if this can be replicated for seasons to come out of Patrick Wisdom. He's not alone. I mean, Frank Schwindel is having a similar season. Granted, he was added later in the year. I mean, he's only been up for half the season, and he's already also in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I mean, he won't get it. I think what's his face from Cincinnati is probably Jonathan India is the front runner, but I mean, Wisdom's certainly in the conversation, and Schwindel's really put himself in there too. Granted, he's really only played half the season. So
Schwindel's helped me get to my fantasy baseball semifinals this week.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you. My fantasy baseball season was awful. Football starting out a little better. But yeah, I mean, that's been fun to at least, see and hear people talk about and everything. We'll see what that leads to, but for lack of coming up with anything else ahead of time, I'm going to go with Patrick Wisdom and the Cubs rookie home run leader.
Yeah,
that's my moment of the week. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Wisdom was a guy when he was with the Cardinals that I thought had some potential, and I was kind of upset to see him go, although he didn't really do a whole lot. So I wasn't too upset, but I wasn't happy either. He was a guy that I would have liked for the Cardinals to keep. I had two kind of bouncing around in my head. One of them I'll just mention real quickly. It was just awesome watching all the football this weekend. There was really good football. And
that
specifically, I'm more so yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
NFL. It was the afternoon window. What game was? Oh, the Cowboys Chargers hit the game-winning field goal, and then like 30 seconds later, the Vikings missed their game-winning field goal, like in a span of minutes. And I was like, this is awesome. So that was one, but I'm going to go a different direction. Same sport that you mentioned. Have you looked at the wild card standings?
I figured this is where we were headed.
St. Louis Cardinals are 3 games up in the wild card after sweeping the Mets for 3 in New York, and then sweeping the Padres for 3 over the weekend in St. Louis. 8-game winning streak, or 9. I think they've won 9 out of 10, but they've won 8 in a row to give them a 3-game cushion in the wild card. It's unbelievable. I don't want to talk too much about that because that's not necessarily my moment of the week. I just wanted to mention that. The Cardinals had their 2011 World Series champion reunion this weekend in St. Louis, which I believe was Saturday. So I was at Churchill and I didn't get to see anything live. I just watched the videos after the fact. Most of the team was back. Obviously, the players that are still playing on other teams weren't, like Albert. He wasn't there, but Skip Schumacher is like the bench coach for the Padres who they were playing. So he was there. Lance Berkman, I saw videos of him. David Freese, of course, the hero, was there. And I thought it was really cool. They had the first pitches. Chris Carpenter and David Freese threw out first pitches to Jack Flaherty and Nolan Arenado. And I think the in-house PA guy said like the handing of the torch from those guys to the new guys. So I forgot who. It might have been our buddy Matt Vanderbilt tweeted something, or no, Chris Slavey posted something. A couple SIU name drops here again, like we do every week. Chris Slavey posted something about it, and Matt Vanderbilt replied. He said, what a team that was, what a ride that was. And Vandy replied, very similar to what's happening now. And I was like, I don't know about that, because I think the other teams are a lot better this year than the teams in 2011. So it was cool to see. I can't believe it's been 10 years, honestly. That team really wasn't very good, I didn't think, but you just got to get hot at the right time. They were better than the 06 team, though. I'll say that.
If I had $1 for every time I heard 11 and 11, I wouldn't have to work anymore. Like, I could do this podcast and not have to worry about, maybe one day making money off of it, because I wouldn't need that money. Like, living in Southern Illinois during 2011, oh my God. It was everywhere. Everybody was saying it. It was written on Facebook and Twitter all the time. I heard 11 and 11 so much, and I was so sick of it. Like, it wasn't that I was obviously I'm a Cubs fan, so I didn't want to see the Cardinals win. I wanted to see my Cardinals friends happy, but I just got so sick of hearing them say that. I was just over it. So,
and then it extended because the whole next year, since they won 11 and
12
11,
and 12,
the whole next year was
12 and 12.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get 12 and 21. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that team. Yeah, you're right. I don't think they weren't that good. They just, as you said, they got lucky at the right time. Guys got hot at the right time. David Freese was never the player that he was during that postseason ever.
No.
Before that or after that. He was never a bad player, but he was never that player again. I mean, yeah, good. You know, it was cool to see that. I hadn't realized it'd been 10 years either. God, we're old. Holy moly. I mean, I guess now it's already been a couple of years since I've had my 10-year high school class reunion.
Yeah.
So won't be long now before
I graduated from SIU 10 years ago. 2011, I graduated from SIU.
I'm only a couple years away from that. So yeah, I guess so. Kudos to them. I mean, you mentioned it there. The current team is, I don't know what's going on. I cannot, what's going on with the Padres to me is unfathomable. But then again, I don't think anybody really expected the Giants to be running away with the division. So, you know, baseball is not exactly always predictable. So, but still, I think I'm just shocked by the Padres. I mean, I think that's the bigger story to me. I mean, yeah, at the deadline, I mean, you were really confused about what the Cardinals are doing. You know, why are the Cardinals adding J.A. Happ and John Lester? I mean, I guess they made the right choice because
they've been okay.
They've certainly helped, and they're clearly making a run at this. I mean, the Reds have kind of fallen off a little bit. I haven't even looked at the standings the last few days to know specifically where teams are. But hey, man, good for you. Good for the Cardinals. Yeah, it blows my mind. But you know, if they can do it, more power to them.
Yeah, I held off talking about him or tweeting about him when they were making
the
first run. Because
a lot of people have.
It's a good thing. I'm not going to say anything, but now that they're 3 games up, I'm like,
yeah,
okay, this is getting real now. Like I'm going to start getting invested. They're 3 games up, I think, on the Reds and the Phillies. Not the Dodgers. The Padres, I think, are a half game behind them, and the Mets are like 7 back. So the Mets are done. So I think the Phillies are the team that the Cardinals are going to have to hold off based on schedule. But it might be the Reds. I think the Reds play the Pirates a lot. The Phillies play the Nationals a lot. And then the Cardinals have 7 with the Brewers and 6 with the Cubs to finish the year. So you need to win 5 against the Cubs.
You probably will, first off. Second, and I'm just now pulling this up, so bear with me here for 1 second. I saw a stat the other day. I heard it mentioned on a podcast, on a Cubs podcast, and then I read it in an article in The Athletic. Do you know, I'm going to ask you this now as my computer's trying, do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. Do you know the last time the Philadelphia Phillies had a record over 500? Like, I mean, this blows my mind because
you're asking this, I would say 2012.
2011. 2011.
That's what I meant.
The team.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Because the Cardinals beat them. The Cardinals beat them in the DS.
Yes, correct. Ever since then, they have hovered around 500 or below.
Well, a couple of years ago, they had the number 1 overall pick. They took that high schooler that hasn't done anything.
It kind of blows my mind. I don't really think of them. I mean, this is a team now that in the last few years has brought in Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto, and they brought in Andrew McCutchen and
Zach Wheeler.
Zach Wheeler. That shocked me when I heard that.
I wouldn't have guessed.
It's been 10 years.
I wouldn't have guessed that except for the fact that you were asking me. So I was like, all right, it has to have been a long time. But yeah.
I mean, right now they're 3 games above 500, so it's likely that they will this year. But yeah, they were 81-81 in 2019. They were 81-81 in 2012. But yeah, 2011 they were 102-60. Had a great record that year, but they have not been over 500 since then. So just an interesting note. Anyway, that's the baseball talk. Happy for you and happy for your Cardinals, and maybe you or my dad will be happy with your team making the postseason. I don't know.
Well,
or maybe neither of you. Maybe it'll be Curtis or whoever. So,
do we have any Phillies friends? I don't think so.
I'm probably, but I don't know who it would be. So I don't know.
Couple weeks left in the baseball season. I'm holding out hope that the Cardinals get it, but then they're gonna have to face the Dodgers. They're gonna have to face the Dodgers, likely in a 1-game wild card. Max Scherzer, and their chances are less than ideal to get through that. But it would just be fun to make the playoffs after all the bitching I did and everyone did around the trade deadline. Yeah. But
we didn't talk about your Friday with Regis Ben.
Oh yeah. That I forgot. That was going to be one of my moments of the week. So Friday I was on campus for work, and I walked from Geese down to Green Street to get some lunch. And I ordered it mobilely on my phone as I was walking. So I was at Noodles 10 minutes before my order was supposed to be ready. So I was like, I'll just stop in Game Day and see if there's anything that catches my eye. And I walk in and I see his name's Brian Bradkey. He's an alum who does a lot with when I was in Arizona, he was in charge of the Phoenix Illini Club, kind of organized get-togethers in Arizona for other fellow Illini alums to watch the games. We watched the Michigan State football game with that group when they came back to beat Michigan State in 2019 to go to the bowl game. So I watched that game with him, and we've kind of stayed in touch and text every once in a while. And I walk in and I see him. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? I look to my right and I'm like, holy cow, that's Aurelius Ben. That's Regis Ben. They were there together. Regis was in town. He said it was the first time he's been to campus since 2012. Obviously he had a pro career, 5-year pro career with Tampa Bay and Jacksonville. Still lives in the Jacksonville area. He runs a coffee house, Social House Coffee, I think is the name of it, in Jacksonville. So if you're ever in the Jacksonville area, look up Social House Coffee. Obviously first time meeting him, first time ever seeing him in person. I don't know that I ever watched one of his games at Illinois in person. Such a cool dude. Like, I talked to him for 10 minutes, him and Brian, both. There was another guy there with us kind of BSing. Asked him about Illinois, asked him about Urban Meyer and Jacksonville. I talked to him like I would talk to you if I saw you in campus. Like, I felt like I had known the guy for 20 years. It was crazy. He's so down to earth, such a cool guy. But yeah, took a picture with him and tweeted that out. So yeah, Illini lose again, 20-17 to Maryland on Friday night. I think the game ended like at 12:10 in the morning on Saturday Central Time. So 1:10 Eastern Time where Logan was. Late night. Yeah. Not surprised by the outcome. Actually pleasantly surprised by the performance. The defense I thought played really well. We were talking about Maryland last week. They put up 63 points in week 2. And I mean, their offense is their calling card, and Illinois held them in check for 3.5 quarters. Completely took away pretty much everything Talia Tagovailoa wanted to do. He wasn't very accurate for the most part, but he was still getting his yards. Just so close, like everything was right there. Had just kind of to recap the end, Illinois had the ball on Maryland's about 40-yard line, I think. 5 minutes left in the game, up by 7, 4th and 1, and Illinois decides to they come out in punt formation, and then they bring all the gunners and the blockers in tight, and Blake Hayes runs up to under center, and they try to do the hard count to get Maryland to go off sides to give them the first down. That didn't work, so they take the delay of game, which makes it 4th and 6. So then they punt I think it's down like at the 14 or something. And then Maryland goes 84 yards, 86 yards in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
To tie the game. But Illinois gets the ball back, has a chance, and the worst 2-minute drill I have ever seen in the history of professional, college, high school, peewee football. Just absolutely terrible play calling, terrible execution. And that's was kind of my last straw with Peters that night. He's just too timid. He doesn't pull the trigger. He holds on to it and then he gets in trouble and throws it away or gets sacked or intentional grounding. I think they called that last intentional grounding. Either here nor there. I think eventually it was on the 6. It was like 4th and 32. Illinois punts. It only gets to about to midfield. And then Maryland takes it down to like the 20 and they kick a field goal as time expires to win it 20-17. So it was just so close. Illinois controlled the game for 3 quarters. And I think that's what's more disappointing because going in, I expected a loss, but I was expecting to see a 20-point loss, honestly.
Yeah.
So for it only to be 3, I guess you walk away feeling not so bad. But then on the other hand, you feel really bad because all you got to do is get 1 yard and that game's pretty much sealed.
Yeah.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah, no, you literally took every single word out of my mouth. I mean, that's
all right,
that's kind of that's kind of the exact way I feel about it. I mean, it's a game that obviously they could have had, and I don't think that we really expected that going into it. And late into the Friday night, the September night, I thought they're going to pull this off and get themselves another Big Ten win, which would have been nice because I just don't know where they're going to get many of those throughout the rest of the season. So came up short. Where are we at with Peters? Are we ready to move on? I mean, is Art Sitkowski really the answer?
So that was the argument after the game. I feel like I was better on Twitter this week than I was.
I was so tired. I wasn't even paying attention to your tweets. So
I wasn't critiquing like I was at UTSA. I wasn't mad tweeting. Except for one where I said fire Tony Peterson, bench Brandon Peters. The play calling was terrible. On that drive where you punt on that 4th and 1 from the 40, they ran 3 draw plays with Reggie Love because Chase Brown and Josh McCray left with injuries. Who Josh McCray I want to talk about is so good. So the play calling late game situation was just terrible. And I meant to look this up before. I'm going to look it up right now. Where was Isaiah Williams all night? He was on the field. I swear to you, he was on the field because I saw him. He goes in motion every single play. He touched the ball. Let me see here. He had no rushing attempts and he had 2 catches for 47 yards. And I believe one was one late, maybe. I don't know. He touched the ball twice. He's your best player. He's a playmaker and you get him the ball twice. So play calling has just it. I don't know if Peterson is in over his head or if he doesn't have the right pieces or what, but play calling is an issue. As far as Peters goes, he was 10 for 26, I believe.
Correct.
Through the air, 10 for 26.
185 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1
interception. And Sitkowski, the 2 games that he played, replacing, well, I guess 2.5 because he replaced Peters in the first half. He was 12 for 15 against Nebraska, 22 for 42 against UTSA, 24 for 45 against UVA, Virginia. So better than 50% completion percentage. He's 56.9 on the year. Not terrible. 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. So looking at the numbers, that's an upgrade to me. And I know this was Peters' first full game, but he was 10 for 26. He's inaccurate. He misses reads constantly. So I sit in the balcony on the east side, and I'll see receivers. Like, I'll kind of see the play develop. And Illinois has done the wheel route multiple times this year. Wheel route was consistently open. He doesn't look that way. And I don't know if I don't know the logistics behind it, but it's just Peters is, I think did I say it on air last week? He's Mitchell Trubisky.
Did not say that on air.
Brandon Peters is Mitchell Trubisky, in my opinion.
You're talking like
mobile.
NFL version Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Because college Mitchell Trubisky was really good.
Yeah, NFL Mitchell Trubisky with the Bears. That's my comp. He's okay if he's given time and the receivers are open, but if he's under any sort of pressure or if he has to make a decision, it's disaster.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I agree with that. I don't know that I would necessarily say bench him now, but I mean, I wouldn't.
I know that's the issue because it's only been one game.
I wouldn't hesitate too much longer, but again, I don't really know how much longer you're playing for something here.
Coaches did say on Monday that Peters is going to be the quarterback moving forward. He's the starter. Sikowski's the backup. I just think that at this point you got to have Art ready to go at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But I would probably stick with Peters. I think I said it. I tweeted it. I like with 7 minutes left in the game. I said put Art in. I think it was more so just Brandon didn't look comfortable Friday night. I still think he's probably the better quarterback overall. I just think he was having a bad game and he didn't look right. And it was his first game back from, they never said what his injury was, something with his shoulder, obviously not a broken collarbone like I thought, because he was back, but I just think he didn't look comfortable. So I think Art would have been better there. I just think he needs to pull the trigger. And what I said to someone else about the 4th and 1 call is you're Illinois football. It's not like you're playing for a national championship or a Big Ten berth. Like, you have nothing to lose by going for it there on 4th and 1. No one expects you to win. So go for it on 4th and 1. If you get it, you can at least milk 2 more minutes off the clock, maybe get in field goal range and make it a 10-point lead. If you don't get it, if Maryland goes down and scores, it's still tied and you get the ball back again anyways. So the game's not over. So that's kind of where I was. You're Illinois. You're not Alabama trying to preserve a college football playoff berth. Go win a game. That's where I'm at. What was I going to talk about? Oh, Josh McCray, freshman running back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He has burst onto the scene.
He can play.
He's such the perfect Brett Bielema running back. Like, because when you think about his Wisconsin running backs, Melvin Gordon, like 6'2", 220.
That's true.
James White was kind of smaller. Who was the other one? There was another one that he had that was really big. But anyways, McCray just looks bigger than everyone that's chasing him. Sans not the defensive lineman, of course. But when he's carrying the ball, he just looks monstrous. He's 6'1", 240.
Yeah.
240-pound running back. And he took the ball around the edge and outran the defensive backs. He is, I mean, if he stays healthy and stays at Illinois, he is going to be a problem for the Big Ten. And they got another guy coming in. I think Jordan Anderson, their commit from, is he from Joliet, maybe? He's from Chicago area. Jordan Anderson's running back. Pretty sure he's a big body too. Might not be as big as McCray, but man, I love it. I love it. If you can't tell, I'm excited about Josh McCray and Chase Brown. He got a couple more years to Chase Brown too.
Yeah, I mean, I like the running back by committee thing. I mean, they have plenty of options. McCray, he's good. And as you said, I mean, he's the right guy for what Bielema likes. We'll have to see if we can get more of that, but I mean, it's a pretty solid group they have going right now. The offense really doesn't worry me that much if they can get some consistency from under center. I mean, I think they have the talent on the ends. They have the talent in the backfield. The defense is still questionable at times. They looked a little better this week. But I don't know if they can continue to make strides. We'll have to see what happens. I don't necessarily know that there's a ton of Big Ten wins out there, but there are some winnable games.
Yeah.
So if they can make some strides and figure some things out, who knows? I mean, they might end up with a few Big Ten wins.
Yeah.
They already got one under their belt. So we'll see.
I had it all. I know I talk about Twitter a ton, but it's like all I do with my life.
You have a Twitter account?
I had a tweet. I didn't have it typed, but I had it drafted in my head because I looked it up during the game when Illinois was up 7 with 5 minutes left. I looked it up. Bielema had not lost a Big Ten game since November 24th of 2012. So if they would have started 2-0, I would have been
Seriously?
Brett Bielema has not lost a Big Ten game since November 24th, 2012. He owns the Big Ten because he would have been 2-0 in the conference. But McCray had 8 carries for 60 yards. He also had 1 catch for 40 yards. That touchdown run was for 38. He did leave the game with an injury. Chase Brown left the game with an injury. Someone else. Doug Kramer did not play. Starting center did not play Friday. Bielema said on Monday he expects all of them to be available, as well as Keith Randolph on the defensive line, which is a help for this week against Purdue. So we'll move on to that one. Purdue, I think I saw it's an afternoon game. I think it's 2:30 Central. I think it's
sounds right. Yes, 2:30 Central time.
3:30 Eastern time game on Big Ten Network. On Saturday, the battle for the cannon. Purdue lost to Notre Dame on Saturday.
Should I go down for this?
27-13. How far is the drive?
Like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, sure.
Think so?
Yeah, might as well.
Oh, I might. I might. I've been to watch.
I mean, that's the closest Illinois going to be to you, right?
Correct. Yes. Went to a football game at Purdue when Southern played there.
I forgot about that.
That would have been 20. I think that was the year I was back doing radio, maybe. So 2013, the 2013 season, I guess. So I've not been back to that campus really since then. So I've driven through it, driven around it, but you never know. Maybe I'll be looking for something to do on Saturday and I'll head down to Lafayette. Yeah,
if you want to see them play this year, I think that's your best option, unless you want to drive back to Champaign. I got some tickets that you can that will be available if you want. So yeah, it's 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. Purdue's 2-1, Illinois is 1-3. I did see today that Purdue's best player, David Bell, wide receiver, is in concussion protocol. So his status is in question for Saturday, which would be a boost to Illinois because they can't defend the pass, and that would really help their defense. Jack Plummer, I think that's his name, their quarterback.
Yes.
Going for 745 yards in 3 games, 7 touchdowns. Their leading rusher only has 126 yards and 1 touchdown, very similar to Chase Brown's stats. So it could be a good one. The line is Purdue -11. So Purdue's an 11-point favorite, which kind of seems high to me. I didn't expect it to reach double digits. But here we are, over under set at 55.5. What are your expectations? Are they higher or lower after Friday night's loss to Maryland than they were going to be?
Higher or lower in what regard? My expectations?
Your expectations.
Higher or lower?
Yeah.
I think my expectations are that for Illinois, they're probably a little higher, but I think Purdue might be a little better than I was thinking too.
Yep.
Because they played with Notre Dame a little more, ended up being a couple touchdowns maybe by the end, but they played with Notre Dame a little bit more than I was expecting. Granted, Notre Dame is also the team that almost lost to Toledo the week before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure what they are either. But I think it's probably about the same, honestly. We'll just have to see what Illinois is what they're going to bring to the table. 11 points, honestly, sounds about right to me. If I'm being honest. I think it could certainly be less than that. I don't think it's out of the question that Illinois could win the game, but I would say it's probably 11 probably makes sense to me.
Did you see the controversy with the Purdue drum this weekend?
Oh yes. And they beat that horse to the ground. Get it? On the broadcast. Like, oh my goodness. I heard Mike Tirico between the drum controversy and telling the audience that Jack Plummer is not related to Jake Plummer, although they're both from Arizona.
Oh,
I heard both. No, I heard both of those things
Oh.
15 times during that game on Saturday.
I thought he was.
No, he is not related to Jake. No relation. But yes, the Purdue drum thing was definitely an ordeal. But I did hear them also say that most marching bands can't get their stuff through the Notre Dame tunnel because they've made that new tunnel for the visiting teams and they have to use that tunnel. So most teams, percussion groups can't get there. Purdue just made a big deal about it because it's been however many games straight that their drum has been there and all this stuff. And they still had it there. It was outside. It was at the tailgate stuff. I mean, whatever. But
yeah, I noticed the new tunnel at Notre Dame Stadium week 1 when they played Florida State, because Notre Dame runs out of their tunnel and there's a ton of room. And then they showed Florida State coming out of theirs, and it's one little tunnel that I don't even know I would fit through. It's like so small. So, I don't know that there's much else to say other than the game is Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. Watch it if you want to. I don't have any special insight.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion advised. It could be ugly, but we'll see. So
I have a question.
I don't know. For the show, are we still on air here or are we on pause?
No, we're on air.
Okay.
This is a legitimate question for the show.
Okay.
When can we start previewing basketball?
I actually thought about that today. I was like,
I know we're going to talk about
preview.
We're going to talk about the Underwood extension, but when? Like, how early is too early? Like, how early is too early for me to put up my Christmas lights, and how early is it for me to start talking about Illinois basketball? Are those two around the same time, or what? Is it like
Christmas lights can go up the day after Thanksgiving?
Oh, Craig. They'll be up before Halloween.
I know. I actually did think about that today, that it's probably time to start mentioning some basketball stuff. Are we going to do we're doing our Big Ten Power Rankings for football? Are we going to do weekly bracketology?
Ooh, that'd be fun. I don't think
I don't want to do a whole 64 team bracket.
Well, no, but
kidding.
we could do certain things. No, we're not going to do the whole thing. And I don't think we need to do power rankings for basketball because they play throughout the week and it's not just Saturdays and all that. But are we taking the show on the road to the Big Ten championship game when they ultimately play in that in Indianapolis?
The football team? No,
the basketball team. I'm already looking ahead to basketball. I'm sorry. Football's done.
Yeah.
I'm over.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I guess I'm a little bit farther from Indy now than I was in Champaign, but
not that much.
Not much. No, not much.
Are you really further?
I might be closer.
It might be very close. I don't know that you're that much further.
Yeah. I'm just glad because Indy gets everything. They get all the good games, so I'm still within driving distance of that. I think the Final Four was there last year. I don't know what the Final Four is. Anyways, we'll talk basketball a lot coming up because this football season is going downhill fast. Logan's holding up his Lou VHS that he won last week. Other Big Ten scores: Nebraska surprisingly hung with Oklahoma. I think they had a chance to win.
Yeah, they did.
Fell 23-16 at Oklahoma. Cincinnati came back to beat Indiana, right?
Correct. Yeah.
They ended up winning by 14, 38-24. And then Michigan State, the surprise of the Big Ten.
Holy moly.
They go down to Miami and beat number 24 Miami 38-17. Three score game down there. Michigan has no trouble. Northern Illinois, Minnesota goes to Colorado, puts up a 30 spot and pitches a shutout. That was a good pick by Logan in last week's pick'em. Notre Dame, we mentioned, beat Purdue by 14. Iowa beat Kent State. Ohio State struggled a little bit with Tulsa. They won by 21, but a lot of people thought it'd be more. Delaware beats Rutgers beats Delaware. Duke does beat Northwestern. Northwestern's really bad. Duke beats them by 7. And then the best game of the night, Penn State holds off Auburn 28-20 in Happy Valley, the whiteout. What do you think of the whiteouts?
That was fun.
You like them?
Yeah, I don't mind them. You have an issue with them?
I just think people make a huge deal about them, and it's just like, all right, they're cool, but it doesn't deserve a 30 minutes segment on College Game Day.
Well, no, that's overblown.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't have any issues with it. I mean,
no, I don't have any issues.
When we were growing up, paint the hall orange was like the thing. Like they only did that. They only like promoted that like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously everybody usually wore orange anyway, but I mean that's just. But I mean, yes, they do overhype it for sure. But yeah, I mean, I still think it's cool. I mean, I don't have any issues with it.
Ready for your rankings?
Yeah.
How much movement did you have? I did not have a whole lot.
I had quite a bit in the middle.
Okay, that's where mine is too.
Nothing at the top, and a few stayed the same towards the bottom. But my 6 through 12 got shuffled a little bit.
I guess I need to look up where I had everyone last week. So you want to get started? Who's your 14 spot?
I left Illinois at 14.
Okay.
They got to win again for me to. I know Northwestern hasn't looked good either. Both teams lost this week. I'm not opposed to putting Illinois up a spot, but they gotta show me that they deserve it at this point. So I'm leaving Illinois at 14.
Mine stayed the same as well, but mine is Northwestern. So Northwestern is 14 for me. I think Duke's one of the worst FBS programs, and Northwestern went and lost at Duke. So
yeah,
I'm keeping Northwestern
totally fair.
There.
That's fair.
And keeping Illinois at 13 because I think they looked better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Against Maryland. So
yep. And I had Northwestern at 13. Again, I think those are fairly interchangeable right now. But I just left it as it was just because neither of them won a game over the weekend. So didn't really feel like either of them really deserved to move.
Anything change at 12?
Yeah, I need to load up though what I did in the past because I put on here what my movement was, but I'm not totally sure it was right. I have Rutgers at 12. Okay. I have them moving down a spot. I know they won. They beat Delaware. But yeah, I have them moving down a spot. Let me pull up my from last week. Yeah, so I had Nebraska there last week. And I ended up moving Nebraska up because they looked really, really promising against Oklahoma. So I have Rutgers moving down a spot to number 12.
Mine stays the same. I kept Nebraska at 12. Probably could have moved them up, like you said. They looked really good at Oklahoma, but Rutgers I think is decent. So kept Rutgers at 11 and Nebraska at 12.
That's fair. Purdue ended up moving down a spot to 11 for me. Again, they didn't look half bad against Notre Dame, but this was more of the team that almost beat the number 3 team in the country or whatever Oklahoma is. So I mean that's really, it was more of Nebraska I moved up as opposed to the others doing anything to justify themselves moving down. So Purdue I have at 11 and I have Nebraska at 10.
Okay. I respect it. Like I said, after Illinois beat them, I think Nebraska is probably a top half Big Ten team. They're just
I think they probably are.
The program is just in such a weird spot right now. So once they weather the storm, I think they're probably a top half Big Ten team. Just I haven't seen all of it to move them up like you have, but I've got Purdue staying at 10. I think they've been at 10 for me. Maybe I think the first week they were lower at 11, but they're sticking around at 10, putting up a good fight against Notre Dame last week. To number 9. Who you got at number 9?
I have Indiana, and this is a long fall.
Yeah.
For where I had them to start the season, and it's still early. Things could certainly change for Indiana, and I know that Cincinnati's a pretty darn good team that they just lost to. But some of these other teams have won more games and have done a little bit more than what Indiana has.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've lost to some ranked teams, so that's unfortunate for them that that's who they've had to play against, but it is what it is. I have Indiana moving down 2 spots to number 9.
I have them moving down 3 from 7 to
Wow.
Or no, sorry. Moving down 2. We're on 9. I thought we were on 10. Moving down 2 from 7 to 9. Yeah. Same. I mean, I think they played pretty well against Cincinnati, but they did lose, and they're now 1 and 2, both losses by double digits, and their wins against the FCS school. So yeah, falling from 4 to 9 for me from the start of the season.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 8.
Excuse me. Maryland. I have Maryland. That's where I had them at last week too. They got a Big Ten win. Granted, it was against Illinois, but I'm leaving them there for right now. There's a few teams I'm just not really sure about right now, but I'm just going to leave them at 8 and just kind of see what else happens. Everything around them has been more or less of what a team has done or what a team hasn't done. For Maryland, it's just, I think that's just where they're at right now.
Yeah, I misspoke. I had Indiana at 8 last week, so I only dropped them 1 spot to 9. I was looking at yours that dropped 2 spots. So we are on number 8. That's where I have Maryland as well. They are down 2 spots. I moved them up to 6 last week after beating Howard. What was I doing? I was infatuated with the 60 burger that they put up on Howard and thinking that their offense was best in the country. But yeah, they are 3-0. They haven't lost, but haven't really played anyone. Although they did beat West Virginia, who had a upset win over number 15 Virginia Tech this week. But yeah, they're number 8. Number 7. Lucky number
Minnesota.
7.
I have Minnesota.
Yeah, we're starting to get a lot of the same between both of us here.
Now, this is unfortunate. This is another one of those things. Minnesota actually moved down a spot for me. Granted, they went on the road and put up 30 and shut out Colorado. Yeah, I still have them moving down. But again, this isn't necessarily because of what they did. It's more or less what the other team that I'm about to say did do. More so than that. So I have Minnesota in that spot right now.
I have the same as well. I think our 1 through 9 are going to be very, very, very similar. Who you got at 6?
That's Michigan State.
Yeah, same.
That's the surprise team right now. They're 3-0. They just, as you talked about, went on the road to Miami, a ranked Miami team, and beat them. They are now ranked themselves. I mean, there's not a lot has changed for either of us really, but Michigan State is, I think, better than what we thought, and Indiana is a little lower than what we thought. Everything else is kind of interchangeable in a lot of these spots, but I think those are the two so far this year that we've both been that have been a little swapped for us.
Yeah, Michigan started the year at number 13 for me, and they're also up to number 6 as well after knocking off Miami. Top 5. Any changes in the top 5 for you?
My top 5 did not change. It did not at all. I left it all the same because I had Penn State up at 2 last week and you had Iowa, and I left Penn State up there because they beat Auburn. So my 1 through 5, 5 is Michigan, 4 is Wisconsin, 3 is Iowa, 2 is Penn State, and 1 is Ohio State.
My top 5 did not change either, but I did keep Iowa at 2. I don't know why. Probably should have moved Penn State to 2 because they beat an SEC team, but I'm going to leave
Iowa.
The
same thing that I felt 2. That's the same thing I felt last week. I should have moved Iowa up, and I almost did it this week, but they beat Auburn. So I left them there.
Yep. So top 5 stay the same for us. We'll get these graphics out and put them wherever we put them. Tweet, I think, whatever. Let's move on to the picks now. We have another new leader in the clubhouse. Logan has taken over the lead once again from me. I went 12-4 last week. Logan went 14-2. Only missed 2 games last week. Can you name those 2?
That's what's up. No. Did I pick
Colorado?
I knew Colorado was one of them. I don't remember where the other one was.
Yeah, I don't either. I was just looking at it, but no, not a big deal. You went 4-0 on your non-conference games. So you went 10-2 on your Big Ten games.
Miami.
Oh yeah, we both picked Miami. Yeah. So you missed Miami and Colorado. I think I missed BYU beating Arizona State, Miami beating Michigan State. I had Auburn beating Penn State and Northwestern beating Duke. So those are my 4 losses there. So Logan is 40-16 on the season. I'm 39-17, albeit these are not against the spread, which would be a lot harder and be a lot more gauge of how well we know the sport. These are just straight up winners.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where we stand heading into technically week 4, right? Yeah, technically week 4 because it's Illinois' 5th game. Yeah. So let's start with the national games as we have every week. SIU is first.
These national games suck, Craig.
The slate's awful. The slate is awful. I thought it'd be better because we're getting into some conference play. I literally I think we're going to do SIU every week and then probably pick one game from each of the Power 5 conferences, which is what I did this week. The Pac-12 games are, pardon my French, cover your kids' ears, dog shit. It's a terrible week in the Pac-12, although that conference isn't very good other than Oregon, I don't think. So we're going to start with SIU kicking off Missouri Valley Conference play against the rivals. Illinois State makes the trip to Carbondale. Illinois State 2-1 against number 8 SIU, who's also 2-1. Might go to this game. I haven't been to an SIU game since I left Carbondale in 2012, I don't think. So been about 10 years since I've been back. So I might go this weekend. Logan.
Really?
Yeah,
make the trip?
I might make the trip. I have to go back to Champaign to work Friday, and I might swing down south on my way back and stay and hit the game up with my dad, which I haven't asked him if he wanted to go yet, but he asked me, he asked if I was going last week. Yeah. He asked if I was going last week, Saturday. And I said, no, I'm going back. We had the Louisville thing, but yeah, I'm thinking about going because I kind of want to go now when it's still fairly nice out. I don't want to go in late October or November when it's cold and all that. So yeah, I might make the trip, see the dogs.
Good call. I'm going to take Southern. I think they are one of the better teams in the FCS. You just never really know with the Valley. So I mean, I could see a variety of things happening. But until they give me a reason to not pick them, I'm picking Southern.
Yeah. I mean, I think so as well. I think they're a top 3 team in the conference. SIU is. Illinois State had a down year last year, and then they quit on their season and screwed the rest of the conference. I freaking hate Illinois State. But yeah, I'm taking SIU as well. I think Nick Hill's got a good thing going down in Carbondale. All right, let's move on to the FBS now. We're going to start with that shitty Pac-12 conference.
There's a better matchup. There was a better matchup in the Pac-12 that you didn't pick.
Really? I just
looked at it. I mean, it's slightly better. At least it's a ranked team playing a team that's 2-1.
Also, part of my thinking on this was these are 2 schools that we haven't had on yet.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
We can switch it.
I don't care.
We can pick both
I was just looking at this. I'm like, okay. I mean, UCLA and Stanford are playing. I mean, UCLA is ranked and Stanford is 2-1. And the games you have us picking are Washington State and Utah. It's fine. I'll pick whatever, and I'm still going to kick your butt. But
okay,
I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, there probably was a slightly better game you could have chosen.
I'm trying to be all inclusive here.
Whatever. I'm going to take Utah. I'm taking Utah. I'm taking Utah at home. I'm leaving the door open for you to take Washington State.
I want to take Washington State just for the sake of the show.
Go ahead.
But I don't think they're going to win.
Okay. Never mind.
I'll take Washington State though, just so we have some differences, because I think a lot of our Big Ten picks, we might have the same Big Ten picks for all 12 of them or 10 of them, however many there are, because the games there aren't very good either. So I'll take Washington State just so we have some differing here. ACC slate isn't very good either. Wake Forest is one of the few, might be the only 3-0 school in the ACC. And they traveled to Virginia, who's 2-1, and put up some huge numbers against UNC last week. And then week prior against Illinois as well. Do you have the Deacons or the Cavaliers?
I'm going to take the 3-0 Demon Deacons.
Okay.
I'm going to take them on the road. I think Virginia is probably the better team.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to ride with the team that hasn't lost yet, Wake Forest.
A lot of logic to that, but I'm going to take Virginia. I think their offense is really, really good. And I don't know that Wake Forest is a 3-0 team. So we cancel out each other there. Again, Big 12 slate, not great, but we're going to go with Texas Tech 3-0 Texas Tech Red Raiders at Texas.
This game is in Austin.
I believe every game is on campus except for Notre Dame, Wisconsin.
Okay. I'm going to take Texas.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how good they are. But I'm going to take the Longhorns.
I am as well. I'm going to take Texas as well. I thought I read something that Texas Tech was supposed to have a really down year this year, and they're 3-0. So I don't know where this came from, if they're overperforming or if their schedule has just been really, really bad. They beat Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and FIU. So not great competition, but
I could
they are
see
3-0.
Texas Tech just being flat out pissed off at Texas
For leaving the conference?
And just for leaving the conference. But no, I'm still going to take Texas.
I am as well. It is in Austin. I just looked. It is in Austin for the Longhorns. Who beat Texas? Arkansas beat Texas, which I was surprised. And speaking of, that is our SEC game. There is a really good SEC game this week. Number 7, Texas A&M, 3-0, goes into Fayetteville. Number 16, Arkansas. Arkansas ranked number 16 in the country. They're a 3-0 as well. Logan Lee, who you got?
I'm going to be in Fayetteville in a few weeks. They probably don't have a home game.
Let's see. When are you going to be there? I'll look it up.
I think I've already looked it up, and I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm not
sure why play Alabama or something.
Oh my God. That would be I'm taking Texas A&M. I think they're the better team. I know it's at Arkansas. But I'm going to take A&M.
When are you going to be in Fayetteville?
I'm looking up the schedule, darn it. You already have it pulled up, I'm sure.
I did, yeah.
The weekend I'm going to be there. It's at Little Rock.
They're playing their game at Little Rock. I think once a year Arkansas plays at Little Rock instead of Fayetteville.
Well, that's the weekend that I'm going to be there.
Oh, that sucks.
Who
do they play?
I'm Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Oh, that
UAPB.
Sucks. Yeah,
it's okay.
You're going on their one non-SEC week.
I'm not gonna have time for a football game anyway. Anyway,
okay,
I'm taking A&M.
A&M's without their quarterback. Their starting quarterback is out. So they're to their backup. A&M is a 5.5 point favorite. Give me Woo Pig Suey. I'm gonna take Arkansas. Okay. They got something good going on down there. Texas A&M, I feel like, always has these high expectations, and then they have a game where they're like, you probably shouldn't lose, but you lose. So I'm gonna say it's this week. I'm gonna take Arkansas. All right, those are our 5 national games. We'll probably try and keep it somewhat similar in the future. Have a SIU game and then the other 4, one game from each of the other 4 power conferences, unless the SEC has like 3 really good games.
You got to mention the belt.
Oh, yeah. The belt.
Alabama still has the belt. Florida could not take the belt away. Alabama plays against Southern Mississippi.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was going to tease it like Alabama might lose the belt this week, but they're not going to because they play Southern Mississippi.
No, Alabama keeps the belt, but that's not one
of
my
right. Picks. Moving to the Big Ten, Bowling Green at Minnesota.
I picked against Minnesota last week.
You did,
and it was definitely the wrong pick. I'm not going to pick against Minnesota this week. I'm going to take Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, over Bowling
I'm taking
Green.
Minnesota. I'm taking Minnesota as well. I picked them last week. I'm a Minnesota fan. I know they're without Mo Ibrahim, but I think they take care of Bowling Green. Northwestern hosts Ohio. Ohio is 0-3. Northwestern is 1-2.
Is this the Fighting John Grosses?
Used to be.
Yeah, that's
Now
true. Where's he at now? He's at
Now he's
Akron.
at a different school that we're going to pick here in a little bit.
I forgot about that. Northwestern.
He's doing really well at Akron too.
I know. Northwestern. They are not the best team in the Big Ten. They might be the worst team in the Big Ten, but I think they'll beat Ohio. I'm taking the Cats.
I agree.
Johnny Soul.
Okay. I thought it said they're a 5-point favorite, but they're a 15-point favorite. Northwestern is. I'm taking Northwestern as well. I think they finally get back on the winning side of things in, I about said East Lansing, but they're in Evanston.
Correct.
The team
Not
Illinois
Chicago.
lost to. The team Illinois lost to last week. Maryland hosts Kent State, who'd they play last week? They played a Big Ten team last week as well and lost.
Iowa.
Yeah, I think that's right. That is correct. Kent State or Maryland?
Maryland.
Do they cover 14.5?
Ooh. Yes.
I think they do too. I think they score a lot more this week than they were able to.
Yes.
Against Illinois. So I'm taking Maryland as well. The 14-point favorite at home. Here is we're not quite there yet. Indiana, who we're both kind of, they're a little bit of a sinking ship here. They go on the road at Western Kentucky.
Are you going to this game?
Hell no.
Okay. I'm going to take Indiana. I just think they're going to get it figured out at some point, and they got to start somewhere. And Western Kentucky seems like a good opportunity for them to start to right the ship. I don't think they're as good as we thought they would be. Certainly they're not as good as their Cinderella story last year. Yeah. But they held their own against a pretty damn good Cincinnati team for most of the game this past week. So I'm going to take Indiana.
So Western Kentucky averages 456 passing yards per game, 75 rushing yards per game. So their quarterback's going to need Tommy John or something here at the end of the year. He's just slinging it around there. It'd be tough for Indiana to go on a road at a small school like this. They are a 9-point favorite. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to go with Indiana. I think, like you said, I think that they're not the Cinderella that we saw last year, but I think they pick up a win against the Hilltoppers and that mascot that no one knows what the hell he is. Now we are to the Fighting John Grosses. Akron.
This is the Fighting John Gross.
Ohio State, number 10, Ohio State. Akron, actually, take a guess at what the line is. I hope you're not looking at it, but guess what the line is for this game.
31.5.
You're 3 scores off. 49.
Oh my goodness.
The line is 49.
Wow.
Let's just say
I'm going to take Ohio
State. Okay. Yeah. Both on Ohio State. Moving on. Another FCS school, FCS number 7, Villanova, 1 spot above our Salukis at number 6, Penn State. Any chance Penn State gets the FCS upset treatment?
I don't think it'll happen. I think they're pretty good, but I think if Villanova was playing most other Big Ten teams this week, I think they'd have a good shot.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just don't think it's going to happen with Penn State.
Yep, I agree. Penn State all the way there. No lines on those FCS games. Did you notice that? FBS versus FCS, there's not a line until like Saturday morning. It's weird.
Wonder why.
Both on Penn State there. Colorado State at Iowa. Colorado State, a 23-point underdog.
I'm going with Iowa.
Yep, Iowa there for me as well. Like I said, I think all of our picks for the Big Ten might be the same, but just want to get them on record. Nebraska at Michigan State, number 20 Michigan State, their first game as a ranked team hosting Nebraska. What do you think? Do it.
I'm really thinking about it because I do think Nebraska is better than what we've seen. I'm gonna take Nebraska.
Hey,
I had it. I had Michigan State, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Sparty that they've had the start that they've had, and I think it's certainly possible that they don't lose this game. But man, Nebraska played really good. They played really close with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm taking Nebraska. I'm taking Nebraska.
I'll be completely honest. If you didn't, I probably would have for the sake of the show.
I'm glad
I think Nebraska, I think I'm 50-50 on it, but I'm dating a Michigan State alum. So.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Kind of might need to pick Sparty.
I lived with a Michigan State alum for a year. Actually, okay, I take that back. He wasn't a Michigan State alum. He was just a Michigan State fan. Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna take Nebraska.
Okay, I like it. We're differing there. Rutgers, finally, I guess this is 2 Big Ten games now. We're finally into some other Big Ten action. I feel like Illinois is the only team that's played a Big Ten game. Rutgers goes on the road at Michigan. Michigan is looking really, really good.
Yeah,
both teams 3-0.
Yeah, there's no way Michigan takes this. I think
there's no way Michigan takes this.
No, sorry, that should have been. There should have been a period at the end of that original sentence to break it up. Michigan. I'm taking Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan 18.5-point favorites. Don't know that they cover.
But, no, I don't think they cover.
Michigan they're averaging 350 yards on the ground this year, which they've kind of shifted their philosophy a little bit. And I like the potential there. I like the potential the Wolverines have this year in the Big Ten East. Michigan, I think, wins this one over the Scarlet Knights as well. And then the big one, maybe the best game in the country this week, the Fighting Irish, the 3-0 Notre Dame Fighting Irish play number 18 Wisconsin, who had a bye last week. They were off last week, so they're 1-1, playing in Chicago. Notre Dame and Wisconsin in Chicago. Maybe we should go to this one. Who you got, Logan?
They mentioned it on the broadcast, the Notre Dame broadcast on Saturday, that schools are strategically, and conferences really are strategically placing bye games in front of the weeks that teams play Notre Dame. And conferences are doing that intentionally because they can, and they want to give their conference the best shot possible at beating an independent and Notre Dame. So because I think I haven't looked at it, but it sounds from what they were saying, several teams on Notre Dame's schedule the week before those games, the other team has a bye.
I like it.
With that being said, I don't think that either of these teams have looked particularly great to start this season.
Right.
Especially not compared to what I think they were projected. Wisconsin, I think is good. I think there's certainly been debate over how good their quarterback is. Mm-hmm. And they're going up against their former quarterback in this game. There's a lot of storylines here. Yep. I'm going to take Notre Dame.
As you should.
I don't know that that's necessarily as I should. I do live in this town.
Resident.
But, that is true. It is my address. I'm taking Notre Dame. Wisconsin, I think they're better than what they've shown so far. But somebody has to win this game. Somebody has to lose this game. And I think Notre Dame comes out victorious in Soldier Field on Saturday.
Not so fast.
That's good.
I think Notre Dame has escaped.
You've been waiting for that.
Actually, no, it just popped in my head, literally, as you were saying it. Not so fast. I love Lee Corso so much. Notre Dame has escaped, survive, and advance all 3 games so far, in my opinion. I don't think they do it this time. I think Wisconsin gets them coming off a bye week. Fully 2 weeks to fully prepare for Notre Dame. I mean, no one knows Notre Dame's quarterback better than the team that he's facing this week.
Yeah.
So give me Wisconsin in Chicago over Notre Dame.
No, those are all very valid points. I get it.
Sometimes I make sense.
Sometimes.
Logan. Sometimes.
Rarely.
It's probably less than 50% of the time, but sometimes that makes sense. And then finally, as we always do, finish with Illinois. Illinois 1-3 at Purdue 2-1. Did the Illini pull the upset?
Boiler up.
Wow.
Boiler up. No, I don't think. Is it even an upset? I mean, is it really an upset? I mean, I guess one team has to be a favorite, so I guess that's technically an upset.
Yeah, Purdue's an 11-point favorite. So if Illinois wins, that would be an upset.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna take Purdue. I don't think they're that far ahead of Illinois. But again, I just haven't seen enough out of Illinois to really feel confident that they're gonna win a game on the road, even against a team that's probably bottom tier or close to bottom tier Big Ten. So I'm gonna take Purdue.
Yeah, that's the smart play. I'm honestly debating it.
Do it. Do it for the
I
content.
don't think I can, man.
Good,
I know
don't.
Purdue's probably without David Bell. They've passed for 326 yards per game. So without him, how much does that change? Or do they just have another guy to step in? I don't think Illinois does it. I'm too down on them right now. So I'm going to go with Purdue as well. You're welcome, Derek Fabert. There you go. You'll probably see Derek there. He'll probably be at the game. Maybe. I don't know. He's having a kid pretty soon, so maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Purdue as well. So what do we have? 15 picks this week?
I don't know.
16 picks, something like that. So there they
Math
are.
is
We'll get
hard.
them out. I normally tweet them out from our show account 30 minutes before the first game kicks off. So we'll get those out there. If you want to pick along with us, send us your picks. We'll let you know how you did against ours on the show next week. Anything else football before we move on?
No, we're like 3 weeks into this. We haven't really hardly talked any NFL.
I know. I thought about that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really need to. You kind of did a little bit at the beginning with the good games yesterday, but no, man, I'm good. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about, so we can move on.
Justin Fields did get some run with the Bears yesterday because Dalton was hurt. Didn't look all that impressive. I think it's the rookie quarterbacks, man, that everyone was so hyped about him. Wilson threw 4 interceptions yesterday. Lawrence threw 3 week 1. It's hard to come in and make an impact. So I honestly like what the Bears are doing with Fields. He is the better quarterback, but let him get his feet wet a little bit. Yeah, let him get his feet wet. So moving on to basketball, we had some big news from the Illini basketball program. Was it early last week? Tuesday of last week, maybe?
Sounds right.
Brad Underwood agreed to another extension that keeps him in Champaign through the 2027 season, which this is only a 1-year extension to the extension that he signed, I think in March or something like that. But yeah, he's locked in. Got to be excited. Are you excited?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, I like Brad, and I think that he's obviously leading this program into the right direction. Recruiting has been positive. They're producing talent. They're bringing in talent. You obviously want to see more wins in the tournament. That's obviously got to be the next goal. You can't, you got another, what's on paper preseason looking like a top 3 seed, maybe. You can't really afford to have another early exit this time around, but everything has been positive about Brad. I think it was Brett Behrens that pointed out the stipulations with the buyouts, that if they get the buyouts are super pricey if a Big Ten team's trying to poach him. So you're protecting yourself from that. It's obviously going to be pricey for anybody, but particularly a Big Ten team. Listen, I mean, Bill Self situations happen. So I certainly, you can't really rule that out, but I'm happy. I'm happy for Brad. I'm happy for the program. A lot of good things have come out of this. So let's keep it going, man. He seems happy. He seems like he wants to be at Illinois. Can't blame him. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah. So you mentioned Brett. He tweeted out the figures here. Underwood is going to be paid $4.1 million in total compensation for this season, which is up from $3.8 million that he made last year. And his annual compensation rises to $4.5 million the final 3 years. And in the press release, it said that would put him in the top 10 nationally among college basketball coaches. Based on last year's based on last year's salaries accrued by USA Today, I'm going off of Jeremy Werner's story, IlliniInquirer.com. If you want to read this, Underwood, $4.1 million, would have ranked 7th among men's coaches last year. So he's rising up there in the pay scale, and I think he deserves it so far.
Does that place nationally, like, does that surprise you at all? Like when you see that?
For the situation that Illinois is in, no, because I think Josh is like, all right, if we want to get to where we want to be, we have to probably pay more than this job is. Because I don't think Illinois is probably a top 10 job in the country where it's being paid at.
No.
But I think if you want to get to where you think you're going to be or should be, you need to pay more, or else Brad would leave for another job.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But like I said, got to start producing in the postseason. I don't think getting to the tournament is going to keep this fan base satisfied for very much longer. I think you need to get to the second weekend. Probably need to get to the second weekend this year, or else people are going to start wondering if you're the right man for the job. But yeah, there we go. I know
it's crazy. It's crazy how you have a 30 games long season and have all these successes, and then it really comes down to just 2 games. And if you can't win those 2 games, then it's knives and pitchforks. And I mean, I get it. I'm one of those people, but it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
If you're a top 3 seed and you get bounced the first weekend, everyone's like, knives and pitchforks. But if you're like a 12 seed, sneak into the bubble, and then you end up going to the Elite 8, you're like a savior. Where you had a pretty average season, you just got on a 4-game hot streak, So I think I saw we're less than 50 days away from college basketball, so creeping up there. We'll talk more about it as the year goes on. Moving on to the next and final sports thing on our rundown, and this is all Logan. The Ryder Cup starts on Friday.
Yes,
Logan, what can you tell us about the Ryder Cup?
It's on NBC. It affects my job.
Do you know what it is?
It's golf.
So it's the USA versus Europe.
Oh, I did know that. I did
roster of 12 golfers, I think. 12 from the USA, 12 from Europe, and they play different golf formats. Like they'll play match play one day, then they'll play best ball one day, and then a scramble, and then the last day is individual matchups, 1 versus 1. It's kind of been a thorn in the USA side. They've only won twice since 2000. I think they've won twice of the 2 of the last 7, and they've only won 1 of the last 4, I believe. So Europe has kind of dominated this event. It kicks off, I think, Friday in Wisconsin. It's at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. It was supposed to be last year. Ryder Cup used to be on even years. President's Cup used to be on odd years. But being postponed now puts it where it originally started, because before 9/11, it was Ryder Cup on even years, President's Cup on odd years, which it's back to now. Then they postponed it after 9/11 and it switched to the other way. But yeah, it gets kicked off on Friday. I don't think any Illini are in it. The only one would be Dietrich or Peters, and I don't think they were picked. So I know the USA has a qualifying, like if you win so many tournaments or if you're a top X ranked player, you automatically qualify for the Ryder Cup team. And then there are 6 captain picks. Yeah, so 6 qualifiers and 6 captain picks. Colin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay were the automatic qualifiers. Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth, Harris English, Daniel Berger, and Scotty Scheffler were the captain's picks. How many of those names do you know? 3, 4?
Yeah.
Let me see here. All right, here's Europe. Yeah. No Illini players, but the U.S. captain is Steve Stricker. So there is an Illini tie there. The U.S. team captain is former Illini Steve Stricker. Phil Mickelson's a vice captain, so he's not playing, but he's kind of coaching the guys a little bit. So it's a fun event. It's something that I want to go to eventually. It was in Chicago in 2008 at Medina. And honestly, if I was still living in Champaign, I might have made the drive up to Wisconsin.
You just want to be all over the place this weekend.
Well, if I was in Chicago or if I was in Champaign, I would go there. But where was the other place I was going to go? Oh,
well,
to
you're
Carbondale.
going to Carbondale.
Yeah. I got weekends off now and things are opening back up. I didn't have weekends off for a long time. And then there was a pandemic. So now I have free weekends that I want to go do stuff before it gets cold. So yeah, I don't have like a preview or anything. I just, it's fun. It's a really cool event because it's like, you hardly ever get these team events in golf. That's why I like college golf, because there's the team aspect of it and high school golf and all that stuff. So it's fun. I encourage you to watch a little bit. Sundays are normally really fun because that's when it comes down to the wire and you're waiting on those last 2 or 3 groups to see who's going to get the points and all that stuff. So like Logan said, it's on NBC this weekend if you would like to watch. All right. The Emmys were last night. Logan, this is your territory.
Sort of.
That's not a good face, I don't think.
Well, no, I mean, I just haven't seen nearly as many of these TV shows. I feel like I see less and less of them every year. The Oscars, definitely my thing. I mean, I still saw several of these shows. I mean, the big winner on the comedy side was Ted Lasso. I've already raved about it. I love that show. It's incredible TV. So they won. I think they nearly swept the comedy awards. On the drama side, The Crown won most of those. I haven't watched The Crown. A couple shows that I've been meaning to get to that I never got to that did win. Queen's Gambit, Mayor of Easttown. Hamilton finally came up victorious
what
in
did
an
it
award. It won Outstanding Variety Special Pre-Recorded. So
it's not TV though, right? It was a movie.
Well, but it shouldn't. It's not an Oscar. I mean, it's not. That's the thing. Like, I didn't really.
Because
Hamilton didn't belong in the Oscars, and it wasn't in the Oscars. It's not a movie as in the broad sense of the word. It is a filmed stage production.
Okay.
So it did get nominated with the movies at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
This variety special thing that was up. I mean, it was up against like Bo Burnham's thing was in that category. Like the Super Bowl halftime show was in this category. Just a bunch of random things. So it did win that. It was up for several actor awards too. It didn't win any of those, which didn't totally surprise me. I was just happy to see it win something because I do believe it belonged there. Granted, that came out, God, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is still 2020. And I know that we're almost to the end of 2021. The last 18 months have just ran together in my life, and it's just so incredible. But yeah, I mean, the big ones, obviously The Crown, Ted Lasso. That was real. I watched like the last probably hour or so of it. I was kind of flipping back and forth between that and football. It was fine. I mean, it seems in terms of the show itself, it seemed kind of back to normal. It was a smaller place. They were indoors. I think Seth Rogen was like the first presenter. He made a comment about that, which, I mean, whatever. I'm sure that everybody there was vaccinated, and everybody that wasn't on camera, I'm sure, was masked up and everything. I mean, they've been doing this stuff for the last year or so anyway. I mean, whatever. But yeah, so that did happen last night. Not really much else to say. Cedric the Entertainer was the host. Had no issues with him from what I saw. I'm sure that they were just probably wanted to change a pace from Jimmy Fallon, or I guess James Corden, since it was a CBS show. Yeah. So that's.
Is it like your goal to host an award show at some point, or do you just like to critique the?
No, I mean, I would like to be a talk show host.
Yeah.
But
and you got your start right here on No One Asked Us.
Sure, yeah. No, I at one point I wanted to be a talk show host. I'm not sure that that's really a thing anymore. I kind of shudder at the idea of being on TV again. But yeah. So I enjoy the Oscars, but that's mostly because I actually try to make an effort to watch most of those. TV shows are just different. I just don't get to all of them. They obviously take a lot more of your time to get through a whole TV show. It was cool to see WandaVision was nominated for so many awards. I was hoping it would win a couple of them. It didn't win anything last night. It won some of the special effects type awards, but none of the Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Catherine Hahn, they were all nominated. None of them won anything. I was really hoping Catherine Hahn would have won. I mean, I thought
she was great.
She was great in WandaVision. But they didn't win anything for that. But yeah, that's the Emmys.
All I saw was Rogan's comment. I didn't watch any of it. I saw all the tweets that Ted Lasso was raking it in, but all I saw was Seth Rogen saying that they were told it was going to be outside, but in all reality, it was in a tent, which was technically outside, but the tent had walls on it, so it made it inside. So that's all I saw. So that leads into this. It's a big TV week.
For who?
For me.
Because of the Ryder Cup?
No. First of all, I finished season 5 of 24. So I'm continuing that trek onto season 6. Season 5 was my favorite by far.
Oh, I know it starts this week. Got it. Okay.
So I'm 2 episodes into season 6, and like the cast, like there are just like these people pop up. I'm like, oh my God, they're in 24. Cal Penn.
Yeah, forgot about
24.
That.
Regina King is in the first 2 episodes of this season. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of what I've taken away so far. Season 5 was really, really, really good. Like I probably watched the last half of that season, the last 12 episodes of that season, I probably watched in 2 days. I was just like, give me more. It's weird this season that Wayne Palmer is now president.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what? But yeah, I just wanted to say that season 5 was the best season of 24 so far.
It's a good season. Yeah.
And I'm on to season 6 now. So what Logan figured out, and I'll see if he's right. What do you think I'm talking about?
Survivor's back. There's more Big Brother. I don't know what else would be coming up that you'd be excited about.
You're missing the best one. The Masked Singer.
Oh my
comes
God.
back on
You're
Wednesday.
A Masked Singer fan. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Forgot about that. All right.
I will be revealing some guesses every week on this show.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear this.
I thought you might like that show.
I mean, I've watched it from time to time. I don't tune in to it regularly. I'll watch things on YouTube, or my mom will text me and she'll send me a link of one that I need to watch, or I have nothing against it. I just never got into it.
So, I mean, Fox was pushing it so hard, whatever it was, 3 years ago. And it was on right after something that we watched.
Super Bowl.
What? Yeah, probably. Yeah. It was on right after the Super Bowl.
I think it debuted after a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we just left it on the whole time during the promos. We were both like, this is so stupid. Like, this is the stupidest show ever. And then after the first episode, we're like, oh my God, I got to see who this is.
It's a fun show.
So
a lot of people give it a lot of crap. I mean, as I said, I don't really watch it, but it is a fun show. I mean, from what the clips I've seen, I've watched plenty of performances just on YouTube, but I get that. It's fun. I understand.
I've got a decent track record.
Are you excited about?
I'm pretty good about
Survivor.
I'll get there. I'm pretty good about the athletes. Like what?
Nothing. Go
on. Gronk was on there, and there was like 2 clues, and they had 87, and there was another one, and then I heard him sing. I was like, that's Rob Gronkowski. Like, no doubt in my mind. The other ones, the judges say suggestions, and I kind of go off that, but I'll probably get 2 or 3 every season, but it's fun. There were a couple that we were watching football Sunday yesterday, and Terry Bradshaw was on the Fox pregame, and I turned to Christy and I was like, Terry Bradshaw, one of the best NFL quarterbacks ever, Super Bowl champion, Fox NFL personality, but I will forever remember him as being on The Masked Singer now. So it's like those type of things. And I'm like, oh, he was that character. Oh, he was the robot. Like it's just weird.
Did you guess Kermit the Frog right?
No, I did not. Christy was close. She said something about it. Like they're throwing their voice or something. Like they're throwing their voice. But no, I did not guess Kermit the Frog. That was a weird one. I didn't really like that one.
Yeah, that's a strange one. I thought that was weird.
But yes, Survivor also premieres the same night, Wednesday night, and I am so excited for that. It's different this season because when they went and filmed it, obviously they had to do a quarantine when they got there. And they could only be there for a certain number of days. So that quarantine took off their number of days of shooting. So if they wanted to shoot 2 seasons in the same time period, they had to shorten the number of episodes or number of days of the competition. Right. So normally they were on the island for 39 days. I think it's 26 now. So because of that, because they shortened it, I'm pretty sure that they've made the conditions a lot harder or they're giving them less food or less supplies to kind of combat that 39-day stretch where you need more food or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see how, man, I hate that phrase. I hate that I just said that. I'm so mad at myself.
For saying what?
It's going to be interesting to see.
Oh,
because everyone says that.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid it, and I just said it. Damn. I'm curious to see. So it's just going to be different, and they have to do things different that could work and could not work. So yeah, that kicks off Wednesday. I haven't seen too much other than that's different. I think it's still 16 castaways. I think it's 16, 8 and 8, maybe 9 and 9, 18. But yeah, kicks off Wednesday on CBS, and I'm really excited. That's one show, like we always talk about Big Brother, how like I think we could probably do that show. Like that's something that a normal person could do. There's no way in hell that I could do Survivor. As much as I would like to, there's no way that I could do that.
No. Every season, I think this will be the year I get back into it, and I don't do it. I haven't watched Survivor since like season 2, maybe season like 4. So maybe one time I'll get back into it. Allison has me watching the challenge. That's
I haven't watched the challenge since high school.
Yeah, well, that's the one that I've gone back to. I hadn't watched it in a long time. But yeah, been back on that one. So yeah. Well, I look forward to all of your predictions from The Masked Singer and all of your thoughts on Survivor. It's going to be wonderful, and I'm looking forward to it.
Christy already has a guess on The Masked Singer based on like hasn't heard us sing, but one of the characters this year is a baby, and she's like, Alec Baldwin, he's the voice of Boss Baby. It's like, okay, maybe we'll see. So we got that out there.
Okay.
And as we do every week, Big Brother, we're down to the final 4 now after a double eviction on Friday. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched last week's episodes, Tiffany was the first member of the cookout voted out. And then in a surprise double eviction, Hannah left the house. Azah won HOH. She was HOH for a full 2 hours. And her victim
it didn't go very
Hannah.
Well for her.
No.
Yeah.
No. What do you think?
I it's unfortunate for Tiffany and Hannah because I do think that they were 2 of the best 3 players probably left in the house. Definitely 2 of the top 4. The Tiffany thing was going to have to happen at some point. I knew at some point they were going to start taking shots at each other, and she was probably going to be the first to go. The Hannah thing is unfortunate. I know Azah and her DRs tried to play that off like that was part of what she wanted to do. I don't think that was smart on her end. I don't think she's a favorite to
No.
win this game by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think that her chances are any higher by getting rid of Hannah. I mean, granted, a lot of that came down to, whoever won Power Veto. It's not quite as important as this week's Power Veto. But I mean, ultimately, when there's only 5 people, like that's really what it comes down to. So, I mean, we have 4 people left who I think 2 of them are definitely deserving of being there. I don't really have anything against the other 2. They just haven't really done much, but that's always the case. I mean, very rarely ever in Big Brother are like the 4 best players at the end. Like, for us to have 4 of the top, 4 of the better players make it to the final 6, I think was probably a pretty good feat. I mean, I don't want to we're obviously not going to spoil what's happened before we see the show, because we got a show Friday, but not a show Sunday. So I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but we'll just see. I mean, I think there's a clear favorite in this house, I think, in terms of most likely to win. I think now, especially now that Tiffany and Hannah were gone, I think those were the clear competition that Xavier had left in the house. I mean, Kylan has obviously won several comps. We'll see. It's obviously going to come down to the jury. I love when jurors aren't bitter. And from what we've seen in the jury house so far in the segment we got on Sunday or on Thursday, they don't seem to be bitter. So at least the ones that are there now, they get it. They understand now that it was they kind of figured it out. I don't really know like the logistics about who figured that out and when they decided to actually reveal it. I don't know. But the jurors eventually figured out that there was that the Cookout Alliance exists. They don't know that it's called the Cookout, but I'll be happy if most of them are just not bitter when they're voting for the winner at the end, because I just hate when that's the case.
As far as the jury, I think it was like not a snowball effect, but it was like one person figured this out and then another person said something else. They're like, oh my God, this is happening. And it just it kept piling on. And then they were finally like, oh my gosh, how did we not see this? So genius gameplay by the Cookout. As far as Tiffany goes, she won that second HOH. That was her. Everyone, all the other 5 members of the Cookout, I knew when she won that, I was like, she's going to be the first member of the Cookout to leave, because they were all bitter about that. That was, and she said that.
And I don't want to say that was like the defining reason, but it was definitely a big factor, because somebody was going to have to go first. And as I said a week or 2 ago, I mean, it was pretty much going to be Kylan and Xavier taking shots against Tiffany and Hannah. I mean, really to see who would be the first couple to go, and it ultimately ended up being, the guys that got the better of that. So down to 4 now. We will get an eviction on Thursday, get down to 3, and then the finale will be on Wednesday of next week. So
I'll say this right now. If the final 2 is Azah and Derek F, I will never watch another episode of the show.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either. But if for some reason, somehow that happens,
I shouldn't say that. I don't think it's likely, but I also don't think it's entirely out of the question.
Because those 2 know that they can't beat Kylan and Xavier. So if they have the choice, they're kicking those 2 guys out, and it's going to be those 2. And I will never. Neither of
them have won much.
And Azah showed that when she did win something, she had no idea what she was doing.
That person's going to have to win 2 competitions in a row to be able to choose who they want to take with them. So one of those 2 would have to win 2 competitions, and I just don't know if I see it happening. I mean, whatever the endurance comp, Derek's definitely not winning. So then I don't know. Yes, it's certainly on the table, but I'll be a little disappointed if that's the case as well, because I don't really have anything against either of them. Derek more so than Azah, but they're there are a lot better players in that house that would be more deserving to be there at the final 2.
One word answer. I have 2 questions for you. One word answer. Who do you want to win?
Xavier.
Who wins?
Xavier.
Okay.
I don't really see it going another way. I think if
Yeah.
he's in the final 2, I don't think there's any chance that either of the other 2 beat him.
Yeah.
Derek may get a vote or 2. But honestly, looking on it, I don't know who's going to vote for Azza.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I mean, Kylan maybe. I just don't see it. I think if Xavier's at the final 2, I think he wins.
Yeah, I agree with you
so
on both of those.
And he's
but
the
I
HOH
wouldn't-
this week, so
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if Kylan won. I think he's played a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Overall, so I wouldn't be upset with that. All right, another long episode. Logan, you got anything else?
no. I think we're good. I think we've talked about plenty today.
Yeah. All right, that's episode 32 in the books. 32 down, 683 to go.
Wow. Where'd that number come from? That would be 12 years of us doing a podcast.
Are you
13
sure?
years of us.
683 divided by 50. 13.1346154 years.
13 years of us doing a
13
podcast.
years.
Hey man, if we're still doing this podcast in 13 years,
And that's
Kudos
if we
to
do
us.
an episode every week,
yeah, kudos to us.
which we haven't missed
Man.
yet. We haven't missed a week yet since we started.
We've even
this
had
show.
a two episode week.
Yeah, when Logan was crying himself to sleep over all of his favorite baseball players. All right, let's get out of here. That's episode 32 of No One Asked Us. We'll be back again next week with episode 33, recapping Illinois Purdue game. Probably looking ahead to some sort of basketball stuff, and who knows what else comes up this week. I'll have a review of Survivor and The Masked Singer, and I'll have every single answer for who's on The Masked Singer.
I cannot wait. I am super excited for this.
Be sure, look out for it next week, probably Tuesday. We've been recording these on every Monday, so probably on Tuesday morning. Thanks for listening. That's episode 32 of No One Asked Us.
Bye.